Okay, today I'm going to walk you through how I do my little witchy hat. And I use soft vinyl. Now, I don't have black, so I'm going to be using gunmetal. I'm all sold out of black and have been for a while. We are going to quilt it, and we get that puffy appearance by using foam, and I do not use fusible foam. I've got the pattern ready for you, so be sure to download that. And this is just a one size fits all in general. So, adapt it as you need for your head size, but I'm not getting all into that. So let's go overhead and we'll put the pattern pieces together. Okay, let's cut out our pattern pieces here. I'm going to rough cut my foam out. And by rough cut, I mean not super accurately, because we want to quilt our fabric first. We just need one piece for the cone and one piece cut on the fold though. So do this. Cut on the fold. Oh, I was using my paper one. No wonder it didn't cut my foam. All right, and then I'm just gonna cut this piece out. This doesn't matter how sloppy you are here. Just get her cut out. Good. It's been a day, let me tell you. Okay, got that one cut out. Gonna use the gunmetal vinyl. This is soft vinyl. And I need to have enough to place that on the fold. One piece of our soft vinyl will make a hat. All right, here we are. that out of my way so I can cut it a little more accurately. There we are. Now for that inner curve, you might just want to draw it and then cut it out with scissors or a 28 mil rotary cutter. Yeah, I can see that like that. There's our brim. Okay, now we gotta cut lining fabric out. Let's see, I don't believe I have any witchy fabric I can use at the moment. I found the ghosts. I had a yard of that left. So I will use that. And I like that it's non-directional, so I can't mess it up, hopefully. All right. So now we'll do the quilting part just to make everything really easy. We need our foam piece, and I'm going to be using some 505 spray. Okay. I'm going to bring my ironing mat over. And first I'm going to iron my quilting cotton piece. This is on high heat. And you can starch it if you feel like it. It doesn't really matter. It's personal preference. Awesome. I'm going to flip it. I will 505 my fabric on once I get this piece on here the way I want it. Okay, cool. That looks good. And now I'll come back over here. And do this. I wish Ram was here with me. I like to chat with him when I do my tutorials, but he had to go take the kiddos to piano. Okay, so now we're good to go here. I'm going to put my iron in the back. Hopefully I won't need that right now. Move my ironing surface. Move my pattern piece. We'll do the same thing with the brim, but first I want to show you how I'm going to quilt this. All right, so I am just going to start in the middle using a Hera marker or anything you have that can help you make a straight line that's not permanent. It just leaves an indent like that. Ooh, can you even see that? I hope it shows up. Okay, so that's where I'm going to start, and I will just create 1-inch guidelines for my quilting process. And you could do free motion. You don't have to measure. You don't even have to quilt it if you don't want to. You could just go around the perimeter to secure both layers, or all 3 layers together if you prefer. You could make it go diagonally. You could do diamonds, whatever you want. I'm sure some of you will free motion quilt this. I would probably do that if I was working on my Bernina machine. I really love a free motion quilt. It's so satisfying. No rules. All right, let me quilt on these lines first, and then we will bring it back over to do the other side. Now, you want to make sure that you're getting both layers in there evenly. Nothing is puckering up and misbehaving. I'm using Gutermann thread, a 3.5mm stitch length. I do have on my Teflon foot, but you don't probably need it with the soft vinyl. However, if your machine is acting angry, it could mean that it would prefer a Teflon foot. So I'll show you there. It's going through all the layers here. There's 2. I do take it out and quilt in the same direction just because I've been scarred in the past where it is puckered fabric and sometimes the fabric wanted to fight. So this is just what I do. It works for me. If you want to pivot and take your chances, that's fine by me. You do whatever you like. You don't have to backstitch unless your machine wants you to. On my Bernina 1008, if I don't backstitch, sometimes the thread will pull out. But on the Juki, it doesn't matter. All of these edges will be sewn again. Don't worry, it's going to be just fine. Sometimes people freak out, but we'll iron any puckers out. It's so forgiving. I love the soft vinyl. It's really easy. Very friendly. Like a friend that doesn't need maintenance, you know? You know the type. Let's go to the front. So we've got half of those quilty lines done. Now I'm going to go overhead and measure the rest. All right, let's sew these lines. Are y'all giving out candy at Halloween this year? What do you usually give? I tend to buy fun-size candy bars and give those out, but I always give the kids like 2 or 3 So why not? I should just buy full size and then everybody gets one. I don't know. What a conundrum. Or maybe we won't have any visitors this year. I don't know. We weren't around at Halloween last year. We were in Houston. So it's quilted. Now on my other hat, I also went across or diagonal. I did the diamonds, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to do these lines. Because we fold the cone together and sew it down, it'll have some movement anyways. So, you know, I'll try to keep it sweet, short and sweet for you. Trimming away my excess foam. Do you all think I have a Wisconsin accent? Because I don't. I grew up in northern Illinois, so I always think I have more of a Chicago accent. Or maybe I don't have one. I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and baste the outer edges just to keep all the fabric in place. So I'm going to go to the machine. Here we go. I'll just turn it up to a 5.5. And this is just to make it easier to sew together later. If you have a zigzag stitch, you could zigzag these edges to compress it a little bit more if you want. This machine does not have a zigzag. Okay. I'm going to turn my stitch length back down so I don't forget to change it later. All right, so the cone is done. Now we're going to do the same thing with the brim. So let me grab those pieces and the foam, and we will go back overhead. First, I'm going to iron that a bit before I spray. Get it as close as you can. Don't worry if there's anything not perfect. It's fine. We're going to cut this out cleaner after we quilt it, and then we bind our raw edges anyways, so no worries. I like doing the spray because then when I'm quilting on the bed of the machine, it doesn't lift. And, you know, have you ever quilted something and the fabric flipped up underneath? Just drives me nuts. I've done that 18 million times. All right, let's go overhead and draw some grid lines. And again, you can do whatever you want. If you want to do circles, that would be cool. Well, shoot, maybe I'll do circles. I kind of like that idea. Let's go to the machine. Okay, I'm at a 3.5 inch stitch length. I'm going to start in here and let's just have some fun. Hold up. Getting a little dizzy. All right, so it's all quilted up. Now I'm going to clean up that extra foam. Get it looking good. Right. Okay, let's take our cone piece and fold it right sides together. So line up that edge as best you can. We're not trying to do perfection here, okay? So take the load off and just do the best you can. And we're gonna sew right up this edge. I'm going right outside that base stitch. So about a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I'm conservative on the seam allowance here because I want to make sure it fits my big head. So if you have a small head, you can probably be more secure in your seam allowance. And remember, we can always redo a seam allowance. That is not a big deal. I mean, like, you can make it a bigger seam allowance if you need to after the fact. I'm just trimming down some of that seam and that corner tip. Yeah, I think it's gonna work. See, it's good I don't take a huge seam allowance. And now let's turn this right sides out. And this tip piece, you'll have to work it. Work it out. If you've got a chopstick or an expert point and press tool, that will come in handy. I'm going to use mine. All right. Okay, now we've got our circle. What you can do is fold this in half and just make a tiny little mark to mark the centers. I do a snip because otherwise I just cannot see it very well. And then this seam line, we are going to right sides together, do one snip mark with that seam line. And then the opposite directly across. And then the rest of this circle, we're going to ease in. I like to do the sides. If you wanted to make 4 little centering marks, you can, but I find that on a project like this, I don't really need it. This is for fun. This isn't for couture wearing, you know. Time and a place. I'm working it around. Raw edges meeting. Sometimes you have to dig in there and pull out that circle to make it in here. Okay. And sometimes you have to kind of smush and move clips around a little bit, circle to a line, that kind of deal. Don't stress it. You can make this work. It will fit. Ramel did the math, so we are in good hands here. I have to give him props because I was close to tears trying to get the pattern pieces drawn in Adobe Illustrator. It just was such a struggle today. I don't know what's wrong. But some days are like that, and so I had to call in reinforcements. And even though he doesn't know Adobe, he talked me through it. And we got it. We got it there. Yin and yang, I tell you. I'm fire and he's ice. All right, let's sew this together. I'm gonna start near that seam on the hat, not on it, but very near it, so that if I have to fudge and sew a tiny wrinkle in, it's gonna be on the where the seam hits. Hopefully I won't have to do that. And I'm gonna back stitch a few stitches. Now, if you need to hammer this down before you sew, please feel free. Use that seam pounder mallet. I just know my Juki can handle it, so I'm not bothered to do that right now. Go as slow as you need to. And we're back to the beginning. All right, and back overhead. Now, technically your hat, you know, you could wear it like this, but I like to do a binding around the outer edge and a binding here. Now, if you wanted extra credit, you could do a binding on that seam, but I cut it down so low that it just doesn't need it. Okay, so I'm just trimming some of the bulk of the seam allowance away. Okay, so I'm going to use the Wright's ready-made binding because it's easy, it's simple, and I can iron it right into shape. My iron is on. I'm going to grab my little ironing surface and my binding. Okay, so we have some packages of this in the shop. I'm just going to use black because I didn't plan. I should have bought some fancy binding, or maybe I should make it from the soft vinyl actually, but I'm not going to. It's just been too long of a day. Okay, so I'm going to cut a piece that's a little bit longer to go around the outer edge first. And I'll show you, this stuff is great because you can just train it to curve however you need. So let me go overhead. We're going to do it just like I've shown before. I'm going to iron a little short piece in. Let's see, I'm going to start, this is going to be the back because of the seam, so I'll start in the back. And there's a little ditch that I'll be sewing in, and I'll show you that close up in just a sec. But what I love about this is it just absolutely behaves. There's nothing you have to do special with this stuff. Let me just take it to the machine and let's get this sewn on. Start right here. So raw edge to raw edge of the hat, and we're sewing right in this little ditch, that crease line. Now on black, it's probably very hard to see, but there's this first crease line, and I'm sewing right along that. So the raw edge of the binding matches the raw edge of the hat, and I'm sewing in the first little crease. And you just go little by little. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough with where you're at today. I have left projects for later if I have to bind them, like especially with bags. Usually by that point I'm just done. And I've left them for another day when I have more patience. So give yourself that freedom as well. I don't worry about joining it all fancy, okay? On a project like this, no, it's just not worth my time. So I'm going to take it out, come over here, trim away the excess, and you'll never be able to see that join because it is black and because this is going to be worn. What I heard a rumor that they're making another Practical Magic. Does anyone know if that's true? Because I love that movie. When did that even come out? Was it like 98 or something? 97? Just love it. Cover my boo-boo up and now don't show that part in detail. So now if I take this around that outer edge, it just behaves. We wrapped it around. If you're worried about scorching your vinyl or melting it, just put your Teflon sheet on here. It's all good. You know I've been working with this material for ages. So I'm used to it. You really don't want to hit your iron on the shiny bit. It can melt it, it can scorch it. So here's my Teflon sheet if I wasn't being so lazy right now. Okay, let's sew this outer edge down. Now I should change to black thread, but I'm not going to. And I should grab my stiletto, which I am going to. If you wear your witchy hat to a shop open day here at So Hungry Hippie, we'll give you something. We'll give you a prize. If you take a picture, if you're not local and you want in on the fun, take a picture, tag So Hungry Hippie on social media with it, and we'll send a prize in your next order. How about that? You just have to remind us, say, I posted a picture on socials of my witchy hat and Natalie said I'd get a prize. And we'll do it. We just need all the fun we can get sometimes, you know? We're all kids at heart. You could also glue bind this if you want to add some Elmer's glue instead of using your stiletto. Many, many ways to attach this with ease. All right. So I'll trim my threads and that part is done. Now we're going to do the inside. Do I really feel like it? So I got real tired of sewing, so I'm gluing my binding on this part, and I don't even care. I'm using Elmer's glue. And I'm just gonna get it on there and let it dry overnight and call it a day. Listen, don't judge me. It's too hot for that. There we go. I got a pony in now, but hopefully it'll fit. I got all those clips that are stabbing me, so I'll put it on later and use it for the thumbnail. Hopefully it's all good. And that's it. So download that pattern at sohungryhippie.com. You could come in here if you want and sew a little like, what's this? I don't know, like a wizard thing. I don't know. You could put flowers on here. You could even put flowers on your brim if you're a good witch. Yeah, just have fun with it. I think this would be a really fun sit and sew project with your friends. So feel free, share it, have fun, and I will see you soon. Thanks for being here. Peace, love, sewing.